Hi friends, it's Aubrey from Crybaby Sentimental Homestead, and I'm out here in the polytunnel because it's been raining and cold and it's a little bit warmer in here. Not warm, but a little bit warmer. I had the doors open. I've closed one of them to try to keep in a little bit of the warmth so I can be comfortable, but I have some weeding to do and some up potting, like so much so much. But my dogs tore up another one of my beds, so I'm going to take it as an opportunity to transplant one of my tomatoes, which has been just taken over by morning glory. Let's take a look. Look, there's morning glory all over it. I've already started taking some of it off, but I'm going to be very careful. I've got some snips so I can get in here without pulling off leaves and flowers, to just very carefully remove some of this morning glory vine. And after I snip it off, I'm going to definitely get rid of it because it will regrow from any little bits that are left behind. So I'm going to snip these all out. And I'm being overly careful because I don't want to break off any more of the plant. And I'll be right back with you. I'm going to remove some of the dead leaves and clean this. This is an Arkansas traveling, what is it called? Arkansas Traveler heirloom tomato. And it has some plants, little side shoots. I'm going to transplant those as well. So I removed some of the dead leaves before, and I can show you right here. This one here that has a flower actually was a sucker because I had removed one of the flowers or one of the dead leaves. And up here, I had removed a dead leaf, and then here's a sucker. And it's gotten too hot in here, so there has been quite a bit of just like burnt leaves. So I'm gonna trim this up and everything. I think I'm going to take some of these lower ones. I'm going to propagate this one here. This one here on the bottom is really small, but I can go ahead and try it. I have at least like 1, 2, 3. And I might wait for this one here to get a little bit bigger. So at least 3 I'm going to propagate. Oh, there's another one up here. See right here. This one's in between. There's a stem and a branch, and in between there is another sucker. So I'm going to propagate those, and I've got a container. I'm going to put some water in it and have it ready to go. It just rained, so this should be full of water, and it is. I need a better rain catchment system, but if you don't have anything, something's better than nothing. I'm not quite sure it'll hold up, so I doubled it up just for a little bit of extra protection. So I'm going to be very gentle and careful I don't snip the stem. See, where else was the other one? Like I said, I'm going to let this one grow a little bit more. And there's another one up here by the tomatoes. And a lot of people just throw these away, but I just don't see the sense in that. With this cutting, I'm going to remove the lower foliage and just leave the foliage at the top. And I also want a better, cleaner snip at the bottom. So this should be another tomato plant pretty soon. I'm just going to put it in the water. And I'm going to clean up the other ones too. This one here has a flower. And so I'm going to remove the flower and this leaf here, this set of leaves here, because I want the energy to go into making roots, not making fruits. They can make fruit later, so I'm going to remove the little flowers, this yellow one here, and the ones that haven't bloomed yet. That one's in better shape now to produce roots. This one's super tiny, but I'm always pushing the envelope to see what I can do. So there's no harm. It doesn't cost me anything to try and see if that one will survive. And I'm not going to let it float in there. I'll reduce the water level so that they're not floating. And this one needs to get cleaned up a little bit more too. And that one's ready to go as well. Look what my awful dogs have done. This was all the way up in soil, like all the way to the top. It was looking good. They tore up some of my potatoes. Honestly, they're lucky to be alive because they had eaten any of the greens. They're not supposed to be on that side of the yard. But this here, this is what I'm talking to you about, the morning glory, the bindweed. This is bindweed. I keep pulling it and pulling it. So I know I'm never going to really get rid of it. But I'll just keep picking whatever comes up to the top. But I mean, it's relatively easy to pull. It just little pieces snap off, which means it'll keep propagating itself. So I'm going to bury that part because it looks like it was trying to grow roots. I don't know. This is the area where I'm going to plant the tomato. So I'm going to get this ready to go. Well, I'm out of breath. This is really heavy, but I have this big pot full of soil. I'm going to just dump right in here to fill up that spot. When I dumped that pot out, look at the bindweed roots I found. So those are going to go in the trash. But I also saw some beautiful, lovely worms. That's great. Look at that one right there. Beautiful. So I'm going to make a nice spot for the tomato. Like so. This is what I do all the time. I put the pot in and see if it's going to be level. Now, tomatoes you can technically bury farther up, but I don't want to miss out on fruit production, especially starting so late. So I'm going to bury it just right at the same level. And I'll kind of loosen the roots. Let them know that there's somewhere to go. I'm using this larger bamboo. I can always swap it out for a taller one. This is the tiny one it came with. I'll use it for smaller plants. I'm going to use a twisty tie to prop it up a little bit. And when it has more vigor of its own and kind of knows where it's going, I can remove it. So you can see I'm leaving it really loose. I just don't want it to really fall over and ruin the fruit. And then I'm going to take some bamboo and I'm going to put it around the plant on the outside to keep the dogs away. So I had gone and purchased a bunch of bamboo, and I'm going to go grab some now, and I'm going to make myself a little fence to go around here because this area here is just too attractive for the puppies. They just want to play in here. They don't understand. So I'm going to make a little bamboo fence. So I ran and grabbed some of the bamboo. Hopefully this will be enough. Otherwise I'll have to make another trip to the front. But we're going to enclose this whole area with bamboo. And then it'll be easy to get in when we need to harvest, because all we'll do is pull some out and then put it back again. I want to make it close enough together that the dogs can't put their face through. And I'll put the label here. This is kind of satisfying. No lie. By wedging it against the side, it goes in pretty smooth. Oops, that one broke. I will use that for something smaller. Some of these bamboo stakes are pretty old. But I got a really tremendous deal on them, so I can't really complain. I was thinking about maybe cutting down some of them and making like one of those you know how they have those natural looking I want you to see the hole here. If I kind of like make more of a hole, kind of like drill past the these little areas here, I think I can make my own little natural mason bee house. So I've been thinking about doing that. That might be kind of a fun craft to do. If I end up not needing these here, then I just know where my bamboo is, and I can just come and grab it whenever I'm planting things like peas and other kinds of short vining plants. Okay, I'm going to continue with this and I'll be back. This is coming along really nice. Look at that. I think it looks cool. And then I'm going to also plant some peas to go up them. Might as well maximize the space, right? And I have a big space here. I'm going to go ahead and plant another tomato. Right, the other tomato I chose to plant here is a German Johnson heirloom, and I know that if they cross-pollinate, the fruits won't be true to the type, whatever, but I'm not really concerned about that. I'm trying to get some fruit here. I'm going to go ahead and dig the hole. I took off some cuttings, which I'm actually going to just propagate in the soil with the plants themselves. Look at all these, so many worms. I don't want to hurt them. There's so many in there. So I'm going to use my hands. Oop. While I find some more of that morning glory. Hopefully I can find as much as I can and get it out of here. This area is a little bit higher because the dogs dug in the other area, the other side. But this side is just as accessible. So I'm going to, after I'm done planting these, I'm going to put bamboo around them too. See, this is what I'm talking about, the bamboo, or sorry, the morning glory. That's no good. I'm going to keep digging, and then I'm going to plant this in. Okay, it looks like it's right depth. I'm going to go ahead and plant that in. I'm going to place a stake right here. Try to support it in place. And since it has two main branches, I'm going to put it like that. This one also came with the tie, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. And I left it loose because I don't want to girdle the plant. So that looks good. And then I'm going to fill it in. And these are some more of those bindweed roots I dug out. This soil is so rich, and I had added some vermicompost as well, worm castings. And so this is going to be a really nutritious soil for these to grow in. And I'm just going to plant the suckers, and if they make it, they make it. Because I don't have space inside to propagate tomatoes again. And I'll know what kind they are because they'll be next to this parent plant, which I have a tag with. Actually, planting the tag over here will be the best, I think. I've got more bamboo here. I'm going to end up having to go grab some more from the front yard because I know that this is not going to be enough. I really have to put them close together to keep those dogs out of the garden. I decided I'm going to plant the Arkansas Traveler tomato suckers by the parent plant as well. And if they grow, then I will just transplant them later. But that way I don't have to worry about labeling so many plants. And I'll remember to water this. And I've done this before and it worked really well. There's one more tiny little one. This one probably won't make it, but might as well, you know. No harm. No harm in trying. Let's go get some peas. I have some peas back there. I'm going to go ahead and grab those. Alright, and these are little Marvel peas. And I got the seeds from Haas. I planted them back on April 29th. I think the bamboo fence here looks pretty cool. And these are going to get planted all around. I think I will put some more bamboo in the middle. I'll come back and tie this, but I made this like little teepee shape in the center. One of the reasons why I like to use paper clips is that you can just pull it apart without disrupting the roots very much. As I plant the peas, I'm just leaning them towards the pole so they get the idea to climb up. Okay, so I'm happy with how I've done this. I planted those little Marvel peas from Haas Tool Seeds around this little teepee I made, and I need to tie the top of it to hold it together. I'd rather use something natural, but I have this laying around, so I'm going to use this tool that I have to tie it at the top. Alright, I've secured it at the top. If this breaks down anymore, it's a really old tool. It's starting to degrade, but I'll tie it with something else if I need to. But this is looking good. I'm almost done. Got some gaps I need to fill in. I like this because it's a temporary fix, temporary structure, and it allows for me to get in here and weed or transplant other things or harvest without too much fuss and trouble. And then I can reuse items. Whereas if I made a permanent fence here, then I'm kind of stuck. And I can't necessarily move and reuse things. It's one of my favorite things about gardening is coming up with creative solutions for the problems that we encounter. They're in tomato jail. Now, I sure hope my dogs don't make a game of this, removing all the bamboo. But I think it'd be pretty obvious if they came in with a big piece of bamboo, then I know what they were doing. I could catch them. It's okay if I double them, if they're kind of at a weird angle. I don't want to leave big gaps. Coming from the other side now. Some of the bamboo are pretty sturdy and some are kind of old. But we will put them to use forever. I mean, at the very end of their usability, I can at least use them for frugal culture. Let them degrade in the soil and give their nutrients back to the earth. So it's very helpful that I'm going against a smooth surface to wedge these down. I actually like how this looks. Before I fully close this in, I want to plant these, I think they're called Queen Lime Zinnia. QL is what that was labeled as. I think it's the pink and green zinnias. So I have got two here. I'm going to plant one in that big space here and one right here. Oh no. I'm going to go ahead and replant this. This is a potato. But I'm not going to plant it that close to a tomato. So I'll put that right here. And isn't that pretty? Let's go over here. You know what? I can put the potato in the middle there. There's nothing in the middle. So right here is the middle of the teepee. And I'm going to take a hole and replant the potato. Right there. And it's got plenty of nice soft soil there. And then let's go ahead and put, I keep finding little slugs. Give them a throw. Dig a hole here. And I'm going to put the other zinnia. And I got these from the school, from one of the high schools. And some of the other ones have already gone to bloom. I need to deadhead them and plant those as well. These haven't bloomed. These two haven't. So we should get their full glory. Whew. Okay. So we've got the Arkansas Traveler tomato. We have the German Johnson tomato. And then we have the little sucker volunteers that are down the bottom. I've got the sweet marble peas around this teepee area. And I've got potatoes. Don't tell me I can't grow potatoes with tomatoes because I can do whatever I want to. They're not diseased. They're super healthy. And they're not touching. And I'll keep the foliage cut back so that they don't. I know they're both nightshades. I've got my zinnias here. And some zinnias there, and we're going to close this in. It is looking so good. I'm not embarrassed of this at all. Sometimes, you have ideas and you're like, oh, that's kind of not so great when it turns out, but this is looking good. And I'm just closing this area in right here, and then I will be done. And when some of them, if they're a little bit wobbly, I'll put an extra one in that area. So like that one there is pretty wobbly. I need 2 hands for this. So when I get 100 subscribers, then I'm going to start doing raffles for seeds that came from my garden. So if you want to subscribe, that makes you eligible. And there is on actually a couple of my older videos, there is a survey, and that's the only way I'll know who's entering the raffles. So if you want to fill those out, do a little scavenger hunt, find those links, get me some more view time by seeing those other videos, fill out those links, subscribe, and you'll be in those raffles. I have all kinds of different seeds I'm going to do. I have rhubarb, lavender, rosemary, mizuna, bunch of other things too. I think this is going to look so pretty. Sometimes when I've had to block off an area to keep animals out, it hasn't looked so great. But I think the idea of using natural things like the sunchoke, really dried out stalks because you don't want to accidentally propagate them in the wrong areas, and bamboo is really good. Now I have to be honest, one of our puppies is really aggressive with digging, And she dug up one of my areas that I had already done that with. It was working for all the other dogs, but not for her. So, try again. Keep trying. Don't give up. Look at my little tomato jail. Tomato jail. Now, you gotta be careful not to poke your eye out. Don't poke your eye out. Bending down around here because these are going every which way. I'm gonna try to angle it so it bends inward if I can. Yep. Okay. All right, I think that looks really good. Hope you can see. And this is the last one. And I'm done. Look at that. Let me step back. I have a tomato jail. Wow. Okay. I think this looks cool, and it will definitely keep out. I can't say definitely. Knock on wood. It should keep out the dogs and neighborhood cats. It might even scare away some birds and stuff because they would be afraid of like getting down and not being able to get back out again. So maybe. All right. What do you think? All right, everybody, I am filthy. It's time for me to clean up. What did you think about that project with using the bamboo? And the thing is, I can reuse them. So whenever I need them for a project and the puppies have gotten used to this area and know to stay out of it, then I can pull them and use them someplace else. All right, everybody, God bless. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.